Meeting of the School Building Committee. The mayor has asked me to preside. He is otherwise detained on other business. And since we are both virtual and live, I think we need to call the roll. Is that right, Jeremy?
That's right.
Want to do that?
All right, Dave.
Here.
Jason.
Here.
Lori. Jackie.
Here.
Jerry.
Yeah.
Bill.
Here.
Terry.
Here.
Scott.
Here.
Ed.
Here.
Mark.
Here.
Rob. Steve. Mike. Andrew. Gail.
Here.
Jack.
Here?
And no mayor.
Okay, we do have a quorum. Jim, do we have any guests in attendance other than our usual staff people? Mary Ann, Anjanette, Steve, Rachel, and Craig.
Just Jeremy Gay.
Jeremy Gay is here?
Yep.
Okay.
As an attendee.
Yep. Okay. Excellent. So as always, the first order of business is to approve the minutes from February 16th. Jackie?
Move to approve. Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Jeremy, do you want to call the roll?
On the minutes, Dave.
Yes.
Jason.
Yes.
Jackie.
Yes.
Jerry.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Ed.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Gail.
Yes.
Jack.
Yes,
That's 11.
passes unanimously. All right, as usual, we'll skip over the bills. We'll get to the construction update. Is Rachel taking the lead on this?
Yes, she is.
Yes. It says the host has disabled me from sharing my screen, though. I don't know if we can.
All right, Jim's working on that. 1 second.
Okay, no problem.
You're all set, Rachel.
Perfect. Thank you very much. All right. Is everybody able to see my screen?
We are.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'll start on the exterior of the building. So the north facade in front of the building, we're starting to put in the curbing along the entrance loop here. We're also starting to dig the foundation for the site sign. And pretty soon we'll be doing some of the final grading and the concrete walkways as well. And you can see we've already started forming out this concrete walkway along here. Along the south facade, we are continuing with the GFRP cornice along the cafeteria roof line. Other than that, the south facade is pretty much complete. We'll be starting to do the sunshade on the cafeteria pretty soon. And then we'll be going into the landscaping and doing the bus loop and all the pavers on the back entry here. Going into the building, starting up on the 4th floor, we are punched, which is KVA kind of making their final pass through the building, just checking for dings, scrapes, items like that. So they've gone through the 4th floor completely. They've also gone through the 3rd floor completely. And so we're having our subcontractors go back now and fix all those scratches, dings, and we're working on that on the 4th and 3rd floor. So those floors are pretty much done. Once the subcontractors wrap up those lists, we're gonna start final cleaning the rooms and then lock them. And then that'll be it until we start moving the furniture in. So we're actually getting the final cleaners here starting next week. All right, this is a view of the media center. So what we'll have to do in the media center is we finally got some of those columns, the millwork columns going up, which are 2-story columns, so they're looking good. And then the last thing in here to do is just install the glass railing panels along this balcony here. But this area is shaping up really nice. going down to the first floor in the mall area, we have the new blue pipe bistro, so that's all painted out. The intricate, very fancy ceilings are done. We have the light fixtures hung all along this wall back here. This will be where the booths are. And then this kind of area is the bakery. There'll be some food display cases in there too. So we're just have the flooring left in here and some of the millwork columns we still have to wrap up as well. This area is starting to take shape. Also a little bit further down the hallway, we have cosmetology. So we got all of the equipment for cosmetology in this space right now. You can see these are like the styling islands that people are gonna have their hair done at. We also have some of the chairs to wash hair and the manicure and pedicure stations up along this wall. Sorry, it's a little dark in there. So this equipment's starting to go in. Once they finish Cosmo, they're gonna move over to graphics and then kind of jump up to the second floor CTE spaces. This is one of those spaces, so this is dentistry. Right now you can see we have all the water lines stubbed up for the dentistry chairs, which when I tour the kids, I always ask, what do you guys think those are? 9 times out of 10, they're like, oh, those are for the chairs. So that they know they're ready. We also have the x-ray rooms, which I always point out because I think those are really cool. Those are ready to go and ready to get the equipment. So right now we just need to put flooring in and flood the ceilings, and then we'll be ready for the equipment to get in there and start installing that. All right. Next area down on the first floor of the shop wing, we are starting to still do some of the overhead MEPs. We're wrapping up the acoustic sound ceiling, and we're getting ready for final paint of the sound ceiling, and then we can start the flooring. So this is actually a carpentry shop right across from the auditorium. Okay. And please feel free to stop me and ask any questions along the way. Next stop is the auditorium. So we've taken out all the scaffolding, which is exciting, and we started boarding up the walls on the second floor, and we're moving down to board up all the low walls on the first floor. We had all the seats field measured last month, so those are in fabrication. Those take about 8 to 10 weeks to fabricate, so we're tracking those for middle of May. We're pretty much wrapped up in here MEP wise, just got that final boarding to do, and then we'll get rolling with the finishes. And then jumping over to the gym. So similar, all the overhead MEPs are done. They dropped the finished lights in here. We actually just started installing some of the equipment. We got the first basketball hoop up today, which is exciting. So they're working on installing the rest of the gym equipment here. Once the gym equipment is in and they wrap up installing the finished lights, we'll clear all the material out of here, and we're targeting to start the floors beginning of April. And once the floors go in, you guys can see the different color in brick. That's where the bleachers are gonna go, and those are ready. They'll be ready when we are, so. And then last but not least, jumping into the showstopper space, the cafeteria, where we started installing the finished ceiling, which is very similar to the auditorium and the media center. So they're ongoing with that. We also wrapped up the brick over at the gym entrance, and we are wrapping up the brick over at the auditorium entrance this week. But yeah, we have the railings, the finished railings along the balcony. Those went in. We are also working on the railings on the collaboration stair. Those are being put in currently.
Really starting to look like a school, isn't it?
It is, for sure.
Where are we on the mechanical systems, the boilers, the chiller, those sorts of things?
Yep, so we're working on starting those up. Steve, I don't know if you unmuted yourself. You want to jump in or?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I was just gonna answer the question, but you got it.
So we've started up A, B, and C units. We are actually going to start the huge cafeteria unit next week. So that'll be exciting. That'll be a big milestone. Working on starting up the boilers. Still waiting on the gas service there. But we're on target with all of our commissioning and startup so far.
Rachel, when I walked in, the countdown sign said that we were 92 days from substantial completion.
We are.
And we are on time?
We are.
Yeah, minor correction, Jack. It's TCO. There is a difference. So I don't. It's not substantial completion. It's TCO. So the certificate of occupancy. So it'll allow the school to start moving in. But we are on schedule for that. Yes.
Okay. Yes. So yeah, to be clear, it's not substantial completion of the entire job. It's completion of the classroom building and all the other areas we've been looking at, so that they would be able to be occupied and have furniture delivered. Correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And we should always ask the other traditional question, and we're on budget?
Yes, we are.
Good. We'll ask Mary Ann and Anjanette to speak about that a little bit later, because I know they have the usual financial things. So any members of the committee have questions?
It's just been a big move from our last tour. There were a lot of things still in boxes on the ground floor that have seemingly been opened and spread out. And I mean, I drive by all the time. You can see the classrooms from, at night. So it's just impressive, because I'm trying to remember exactly when our last tour was, but it didn't seem like all that long ago, and in that short period of time.
Was it in November?
Yeah, I
November,
wanna say it
December,
was
something like
November.
that.
It was either November or beginning of December, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was
4 months.
it was a 4 months. That's a short amount of time for the amount of change we're seeing on the inside.
And that's a good segue into reminding everyone that our next meeting on April 13th will be in this room, but at 3:30 we are going to have a walkthrough.
Excellent.
So mark your calendars that we will have a walkthrough at 3:30, and then this meeting will occur at 5:30.
Thanks for answering my actual question.
You looked at the agenda. From there.
So anything else, Rachel, that you want to add?
No, I'm excited for the summer. I'm excited for you guys to move in.
And we are as well. Steve, anything that, before we get to, I assume you're gonna handle the change orders and those sorts of things, but anything else you want to add on the building construction?
No, just that we are right there. We got a good plan. It's just working the plan now. So as long as the weather cooperates, we'll keep working on the exterior, and materials are going well. No issues there either, which is helping on the inside.
Excellent. Okay, then we should move on to the change orders.
Sure. So we have GCO number 18 seeking approval tonight. It consists of 5 different CRs. I'll run through them quickly. GCR 137, miscellaneous revisions to lighting and CTE spaces. So this was some power and lighting to display cases, added a clock in the cafe, some interactive features, wall of fame, and some floor boxes in the engineering lab. That total is $71,068.10. GCR 143, added gym and specialty equipment. This was a lot of FF&E type items for the gym and athletic area, like the scorer's table and things like that. That is $38,253.14. GCR 144 SDI correction. So we had a previous CR that this is an insurance that we made a revision but didn't take enough insurance out. So this is just correcting from a previous CR, so that's a credit of $1,163.30. GCR 146, power and data for gym camera. So this was a owner request to add a huddle camera in the middle of the gym, up high on the wall to be able to film practices and games. That is $2,075.16. This is the power requirements for that camera. And then the last one is GCR 150. This is some contingency savings. So from our side of the fence, we are projecting savings for contingency. So we are returning that back to the owner in case there's some other uses for it. And that is a credit of $305,676.52. The overall change order is now a credit of $195,000, $195,443.42. So that's a credit going back to the project. So we're seeking approval for that amount.
It's not hard to approve.
No.
I do want to say that this particular change credit, the $300,000 change credit, was a very good cooperative effort that Mary Ann, Jeanette, Steve, Rachel, Corey, and whoever else was involved, that they all worked together, and Jeremy, of course, worked together well to make sure that we were able to take this back. There's a whole lot of complicated accounting reasons that we don't need to go into, and but it basically will allow us to award the contract that's coming up for the moving, so Gail, you probably have a much better understanding of those things from your time working for the city. I can see you smiling, but thank you to all who were involved in getting this to happen. Just for the record, it looks like Andrew has joined us and Rob walked in. And the mayor. Excellent.
Jack, just.
Hey, Jack.
Scott.
I'm on Zoom.
Yes.
We see it. This could just be me, because I know Jeremy has sent out a few different documents, but the number I have on 150 is a little different.
We got increased this morning by $100,000.
Okay, because I've
sent out this agenda 3 times. I sent out.
Yeah, he sent out
I
revisions.
keep looking at the so maybe I'm just looking at the old one.
So 150 is 300 plus the soft cost to get it to 305.
Okay.
And the total credit is 190.
I was simply going to say, as long as you had that, maybe because I have all your emails open, I couldn't find that one. So.
We trust Jeremy.
Well, no, I'm not. Just making sure that the numbers. I'm a numbers guy. I just want to make sure that that's.
Yeah. So originally we had it at 200.
Yeah.
But Consigli agreed that we could bump it up to 300, just to make sure that we can deal with the accounting issues that come up, because, as I'm sure you're aware, there were, I don't know, $11 or $12 million in allowances. There were another $5 or $6 million in contingency. And it's just a question of Jeremy being able to access those funds to award contracts. It's a complicated municipal situation.
Sure.
And Consigli just cooperated to make sure that we could award the contracts we needed to award.
Oh, all makes sense. I kept pulling up one change request document that kept showing. I swear I've pulled up both of them and they both said 203. So I was just making sure I didn't miss something. And I know you sent out a series of updates, Jeremy. So it's probably just me.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Late breaking
I
news.
pointed to the latest, and it's right there.
And it was the last one, so.
Okay,
Yeah, but I was looking at
I guess then a motion is in order to approve change order 18 in the net amount of $195,443.42 as a credit.
Move to approve.
Second?
Is there any further discussion?
No.
Jeremy, do you want to call the roll?
All right. Change order 18. Dave,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes?
and Mayor.
Yes.
Passes unanimously, thank you. Then, next, it looks like we have a contingency transfer, Steve.
We do. It's a large one for $949.99. There was an under-counter refrigerator that was missed during buyout, so we just captured it now.
And that's
This is,
GCT
Contingency
053?
yes.
Okay, anybody have any?
This is not increasing the GMP, this is just a transfer from contingency.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? Jeremy? Well, I have to ask Jackie first, sorry.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you.
All right. Dave,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes,
and Mayor Haru.
Yes.
passes unanimously. Okay, we have a retainage reduction for the drywall company?
Yes, this is just going from 5% to 2.5% retainage. So this is not all of their retainage. They are more than 93% complete with their work at this point. And there are no major issues with their work or quality or manpower or any negatives against them. So we felt it was fair to be able to reduce it down to 2.5%.
And does that show up on the requisition we have tonight, or is that for next month's requisition?
It is this month's.
Okay, so it's in the numbers that are on our agenda. And
Correct.
Skanska, do you recommend this?
Yes.
And KBA?
Yep.
Thank you. Jackie,
Move to approve.
Second.
any discussion? Jeremy?
Dave,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yeah.
Gail,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes,
and Mayor Haru.
Yes.
passes unanimously. Okay, then, before we move on to the mover update, which I think will probably be Ann Jeanette, would that be correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
So before we move on to that, I'll just ask one more time if there's anything for Steve or Rachel from Consigli that we need to ask them for this meeting?
Jack, there's just a few CRs and CTs that we're tracking. that are
Oh,
due
okay,
for us.
yeah, sorry, good.
Yep.
Give us the update on those.
Yep, so a few potential CRs. Number 145, Area E flooring revisions. This is in the cafeteria. The last 10 feet near the south entrance, changing the flooring materials, approximately $11,998. Number 147, Auditorium Projector Relocation. So it's just moving it from the wall to the face of the balcony to help with the throw and the picture quality. That is approximately $5,400. Item 148 is a student attendance system. This is a system that the owners are requesting that allows students, when they scan their ID cards at the beginning of the day, it actually takes attendance, it tracks attendance at various locations if they have the setup, per setup. It's an iPad basically that scans it. That is approximately $24,348. Item 149, shop window retest costs. So we had some window testing done. One of the windows that was tested actually failed, and we found that it was a deficiency by one of our subcontractors just on that one particular window in the AVB that wrapped the window. So in an instance when we can prove someone's at fault or deficient with their work, we were able to back charge them the costs to retest the window when the testing company comes back out. So that'll be a credit of approximately $1,885. Again, those are all in the works, nothing for approval tonight. And then we had 2 contingency transfers that we're tracking as well. GCT 051 is some pre-testing of the window. So we did this before when we had a failure. We hire a company to come in and test the window after we think we've found the solution. So we'll test that window and a few others that have similar details to make sure we've addressed the problem. And we want to do that before the window testing company comes out, because the commissioning agent comes out and a whole host of other people. We don't want to waste time and money by having them come out and maybe something not be right. So this is extra belt and suspenders and extra testing that we do to make sure we got everything right. So that's approximately $2,500. And then GCT 052, cafeteria ceiling coordination. So this is the wood ceiling closest to the media center. We're adjusting the height of the ceiling and adding a finished panel to coordinate with the ductwork so that the viewpoint from when you're standing in the media center is improved a little bit and you're not looking at ductwork or mechanicals above the ceiling. So that is approximately $9,500. And then other than that, I'll just touch on allowances. The allowances continue to trend well. We've moved them around as we've done all project. We've taken basically a lot of money off the COVID allowance because we didn't need it. So we've used it to fund some overages like temporary heating for the winter heat and a few other things. But overall, the number is trending where we wanted to, a little bit under the overall allowance budget, which helps us so that we don't have to tap into contingency and then allows us to return like we did tonight. So everything's, knock on wood, trending in the right direction.
Excellent. And we've continue to be lucky with COVID, correct?
Yes, numbers are down, positive cases are down, but we're still doing a little bit of extra cleaning just to keep safe and maintain where we've been.
Yeah, because we're in the home stretch now. We need all hands on board, correct?
Exactly.
The one item that you talked about that we haven't really discussed much, it was the student attendance system. And Dave, would you be the person to address that? Or should I have asked Bill to? Who should tell the committee more about that?
Mark might know the most about that.
Okay, Mark? Mark, can you
Yes,
address
Jack.
can you address what that system is and you know why it was a request from the administration?
Sure. When we started to finalize plans for the safety and card swiping that were happening at doors, we had asked Harbor if the system that was employed was going to allow us to have students swipe in for attendance. They told us no, so we asked them to investigate what the added cost would be to add that feature to the system they were installing. Unfortunately, it was something that the system could have added to it, and based on the information it's going to provide and the way it's going to kind of seamlessly tie into our student information system, it seemed like a very wise investment.
And so this would allow you to take attendance virtually, well, I should say electronically?
As students enter the building.
As they enter the building in the morning?
Yes. So no class time will be spent on attendance.
And is there any functionality where they have to swipe out so we know they've left the building?
That can be done, but no, we haven't added that as a component to what we're doing. No, there's such a wide variability in terms of when students come and go. So we haven't, but that's something we can do without having to get any more hardware or software.
Okay. So, but we do have originally we had a system where the staff would all be swiping, so we know what doors all staff members went through. Is that correct?
Yes. And we still have that.
Okay. And this will not be students then swiping to go through those doors that only staff can go through?
Correct. These would be students providing their IDs at stations just inside the building. That has nothing to do with the door swipe system in terms of giving them special access or something.
It's an attendance kiosk, which is a glorified iPad on a stand.
So that's where everybody will line up in the morning to swipe their IDs, correct?
Yeah, it's more than one, but yes, that's correct.
And so if I had 4 of my friends' IDs, I could swipe them and they all got credit
I
for
was
being
thinking
in
the
school?
same thing.
Or what if they forget their ID? Do they check in somewhere?
Yeah.
Yes, get a,
Yes, they
get a
would.
temporary
at
ID, I would
the
imagine.
office.
Did you say, Mark, that they could check in person if they
If
forgot
their
their ID?
ID, we will have a process for them to check in sort of manually, if you will. There's not a lot we're going to do about a kid who tries to swipe in 4 other IDs other than this is sort of out in the open and would be kind of obvious to everybody what he was doing or she was doing.
And I believe
That's a
that
he.
the plan is that area is staffed anyway, so it would be pretty obvious and also pretty bold for somebody to try to do that with staff in the vicinity.
And 5 minutes later, the A block teachers would notice that they're not in class, so
Yeah.
it's not like they're gonna get away with much.
Okay. Now, it just struck me that in my youth, I worked at places where you had a punch card, and if you punched somebody in or somebody out, that was a firing offense. And so I assume that this will be dealt with
Yes, we
severely.
will fire the students.
Excellent. So, okay. Anything else, Steve? Are we all set?
All set from our side.
Okay. Then, Anjanette, should we go to you next?
Sure. Do you want to do the bills first, or would you like to discuss the mover?
Why don't you do the mover?
Okay. I'm going to just share my screen, which is, it's just the, I think you guys can see that. I'm hoping you can see it.
We can.
Yes.
Okay, so, I'm losing control of my screen here. All right, so on the, oh my gosh, literally, I've totally lost control of my screen. So if the handout that Jeremy, that you guys have for the meeting minutes, there are 2 separate little cells with information, one of which has the mover information, and the second, there it is, has, let me see, there we go. Can you see that now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, very good, thanks. All right, so there's the 2 separate cells here. One is the movers, and then the second one is actually the bucket of money in which the mover contract will be funded. So you just bear with me. I'd like to give you a little bit of a narrative as to the process in which a mover was chosen and what is going to happen next as far as our contract goes. So what we did is we wrote, we had Eva, who is from STV DPM. She's our move manager. She put together an RFP for mover services for the high school project. And it was to procure a professional team of movers to be responsible to move specific classroom and program items from the current high school into the new high school. The scope of work is separate and in addition to the work already captured in the CM equipment contract. So Steve, conceivably Steve, you have a contract with AET, and they're actually moving the large pieces of equipment from the CTE programs that are coming over as part of the construction contract. The contract for this move is for the the personal items, the books, the artwork, the cabinets, that kind of stuff. And that is a contract outside of the CM's contract. We have a budget for it. We have the budget under the owner's contract that will be funding this as well. So what happened was Eva put together this RFP, and then she sent it out to 3 state contract bidders. And it sort of described the facility in which it's coming to, the new space, the number of classrooms, and then we had them come out for a preliminary walkthrough on January 12th. They gave us their price on February 4th. And so in this first middle column here is what their original bids were. That was higher, and there were numbers larger than what I was comfortable with. So we asked them to come back and take another look. In the time from their original bid to when we came in and had a D-scope meeting with them, we worked with Steve, with Consigli, to come up with some ideas to, cut some corners, if you will, make things a little bit easier for them. One of which was Consigli has offered to assist us with the rigging. The rigging is necessary to take everything out of a window from the second floor rather than using the one elevator. So that saved a tremendous amount of time and money. Another way that we were able to save some money is we met with the band and music teachers, and their preference is to actually have the students walk the instruments over. And the students know how to hold the instruments, and so it saves money in having them do that. Also gives them an opportunity to bring their equipment over and see the space at the end of this academic year. Another money saver was having the band uniforms laundered at the end of the academic year and have them returned at the beginning of the next academic year. So it's all little kind of VE items we were able to take advantage of. And so that was able to bring down the price of, their overall prices. So their VE bids came in over here in this right-hand column. So I want to note that all 3 firms are qualified to perform the work, and our intent is to recognize and award the contract to the most advantageous mover specific to the needs of the project. And after significant discussion between STV and Skanska, we found that the proposal received from Sterling would be the most advantageous to our project, and that's this one here at $239,269. Although their fee was not the lowest received, there were several factors that weighed into their favor. They have their own workforce. They're trained professional quality staff. We won't have to supplement their workforce with any temporary labor. A lot of other companies, will bring in college students, to work for the summer to move furniture and all of that kind of stuff. And this company uses all of their own laborers. There's consistency in their approach. They make decisions independently from supervision, and they know not to damage the building and any of the items to be moved. With a project of this size, there'll be people spread out all over, and so we need to have people that are competent and capable to get the work done. The owner came in for the D-scope meeting and stated clearly that there would be no increases or changes in their bid number. Their number will be a not to exceed, and any savings will remain with the owner. They are well known for recognizing savings through efficiencies, and they have, on 2 Skanska projects, come in under budget and completed their work in less time than projected. We're very confident in their grasp of the project and the nuances related to this move specifically. And they'll have a full-time project manager on site to oversee all of the move activities. So we anticipate having a move in April. We anticipate having another move in the second week, the third week of July, second or third week of July, and then a little gap, and then the rest of the moves will follow 2 weeks later. So it's important that the company is able to pivot and react as our schedule changes and as our needs change as well. And this is a company that we feel very confident in making a recommendation to award the contract to. So all of that being said, the number is inclusive of all costs associated with their scope of work, And the contract and billing will be directly with the city of Attleboro. It'll be reviewed by STV and Skanska, and they will be managed by STV, who has been hired by the project to be the move manager. So that was a lot of information, and I would like to offer anybody an opportunity to, if they have any questions regarding anything related to the movers, feel free to ask away.
So it looks like their number came down by $51,000. That was a fairly significant move.
It did, and one of the main reasons it came down, we are going to be using about 5,000 crates for this move, and so they were able to get a significant reduction in the rental of those crates, and so that was in large part why they were able to come down as much as they did.
And Jeanette, there's a $50,000 difference between, almost 60, between Wakefield and Sterling, and you feel that the quality of Sterling justifies that expense?
I do, and again, the big difference there was that the staffing. We have total confidence in Sterling's ability to properly staff and execute the project as we need it. You know, we have a very tight schedule. We are coordinating with all of the demolition activities that need to happen. We're coordinating with the new furniture that's coming into the building, any of the AV or IT equipment that'll be arriving over the course of the summer. So we really, really need to have, you know, the mover that is going to provide us with, you know, the best service overall, specific to this particular project. And again, all three of them are absolutely qualified, but when we weighed the pros and cons, it was really Sterling that sort of rose to the top.
Anybody else have questions?
Just one question. Have you guys used Wakefield in the past? Is there bad experiences? Is that why? Or just
no.
they said that they supplement with someone else?
No. I actually, Eva, these are Eva's go-to movers. She uses them all of the time. It's just the sort of the each move is individual and very specific. In fact, Skanska has another project that Eva's just been hired as a move manager on, and she said that's the perfect job for them. It's different. It's a middle school. It's smaller. It's just a whole different animal. This is a big deal. This move here is really it's a big deal. And not that they couldn't do it. It was just, you know, I think we needed to have Sterling's manpower and their ability to pivot. You know, and that was probably, I would say, that was the biggest factor in our decision. And that we won't see any changes. That's huge. And also the fact that he just did a move on one of our other projects, and that actually it was a Contingency Skanska project and came in a day early and under budget. So that always fares very well.
What's the duration of the move, and how many laborers or movers will be on site? Is it by the day, or does it ramp up and then taper off toward the end when there's more of a settle-in period?
Well, yes, that's exactly, it does. They have them come in as they're needed. Everything will be crated. The crates will be delivered to the different group groups. And then everything will be on dollies and ready to go. So they'll bring the movers in. They anticipate there'll be about 85 trips made between the two areas, the new school and the old school. So they ramp up the manpower, they bring them, they get the job done, and then they, you know, they leave the crates to be unpacked, and when the crates are unpacked by the faculty and staff, they send a truck back, multiple trucks back, obviously, for 5,000 crates to come and pick them up. So we anticipate, I think we have, the first move would be about a 5-day move. That would be the district administration area. And then the next move would be in the classroom and CTE spaces, and that'd be about 2 to 3 weeks.
So if I may add to this, I think it's really important that we have a lot of furniture coming into the building, new furniture that's coming in. And so we have moves that are coordinating with the new furniture coming in and then the materials coming over from the existing high school. And looking at the certain little windows of time that we have in the schedule to make a lot happen, it was important to us that there was a guaranteed workforce that has experience with moving, rather than it being seasonal workers. And what if you can't get the number of seasonal workers that you're hoping to get? And given that this is a 400 and, approximately 75,000 square foot building, this is not like a smaller school that might be 100 or 150,000 square feet. This is a big school, and we know we need to coordinate all those activities and have you folks be able to hit the ground running with the start of school, and not, it's just a decision about how to mitigate that risk, as well as the quality issue of having, teenagers sometimes moving things that may have not moved things before, and we don't know what kind of experience that they have, and then that potential for damage and having to have consigliere come back through to do some corrective work. It's a very tight schedule.
Right, and what I'm sharing with you now, this is this is sort of a living document, and as I mentioned before, we're working with KVA. Their designer Casey is managing all of the actual new furniture installations, and so this is something she had put together. So what they do is they offload into a certain area, they distribute, and then they actually have to bring everything. They have to build everything, and so it's not like you have. You have different vendors. So you have one vendor maybe is doing desks, another vendor is doing chairs. And so there's this coordination needed that's sort of going to get us through the building. And so that's why it's so important, this is going to be expanded upon, and it's already sort of looking a little bit crazy, and you should see Eva's schedule. It looks even more crazy, but anyways, I just wanted to share that with you all, just so you could appreciate the amount of, and I know you do, the amount of effort that's going into this to get everybody settled in time for the new academic year, I should say.
Scott?
My first thing was just that, just in looking at the document, the number on the top for Sterling that's highlighted versus the number below, mover contract not to exceed, the number was just off slightly. It looked like a fat finger.
Yeah, it should be a 9.
Maybe the kid from, yeah. But the other thing I was going to say is, Jack, I know from my former time on the NBC, I mean, we have an obligation a lot of times to look at the low bid, but sometimes when that bid comes in significantly lower than the other bids, that kind of sticks out too, like a flag. Like there could be some other concerns that they might not necessarily be looking at the overall scope. So I would, in this case, kind of defer to, for my own benefits, I would defer to the teams that have used these groups and, have that expertise. I would. Skanska has not led us wrong, personally, for my opinion, or consigli. So, though it is a difference, I have a comfort level with it for what it stands for.
Yeah, I think I agree.
I guess the last thing that I'd like to say is just to sort of go over this little bucket here. This is actually where our project costs are. And so that we had an overall budget. This was to capture the mover contract as well as the move manager. And so that's what I'm showing here is this is STV's contract. we had a little move. Last week, we moved the existing fitness equipment from the old fitness room into a fitness room over at Brennan, and it went very well. I think Jason can attest to that. STV are great professionals. So we used $5,000 out of the budget to make that move over there. There's been some miscellaneous city expenses. This is where the FedEx charges, some advertising like with the Sun Chronicle. We had the pump and the spare parts for the lift station come out of this bucket as well. And so at the end of the day, with the mover contract, it's not to exceed of $239,267. We have a little bit of wiggle room left at $31,185 is the projection. And that might buy us all coffee, Jack.
So, would a motion then be in order to approve a moving contract, I shouldn't say approve, to recommend to the mayor the execution of a moving contract not to exceed $239,267? Is that what you're asking?
$69.
69.
That should be a 9.
Okay, so
That's
the bottom is wrong, the top is right.
Yeah.
Just a
Okay.
keyboard.
I saw that. I was wondering if you could.
Did I make a mistake there?
Is that what you're asking us to do, Anjanette?
Yes, 239,269. Yes, you're correct. I'm sorry. I apologize for the oversight.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Jeremy, do you want to call the roll?
For the mover, NTE, Dave,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
and Mayor Huru.
Yes.
Okay, passes unanimously. Anjanette, do you want to go to the regular monthly budget update?
Sure. Get out of that. All right, hold on one second. Okay. So these are the invoices that we have submitted with our requisition for the month of February. And they include the Skanska charges of $105,590. KBA had an invoice for $150,885. That included their fee along with a fee of some of their sub-consultants. Consigli submitted an invoice that included the regular work and some change order work with a total of $5,298,026.51. I also included an invoice for $125.50 from Briggs that was charged to the city. The 281,067 is the retainage reduction from Century that was just approved. That brings them down to 2.5%. And then overall, when we do all the math here, the amount certified for Consigli's requisition is $5,323,201.91. And that includes the adjustments for the retainage withheld and the retainage paid. So overall, the total invoice would be this number up here of $5,860,869.81. That bills us out at this time to 74%, with a balance remaining overall of $67,929,935 left to bill. And that is left to bill out of the Skanska contract, the KBA contract, as well as all of the Consigli subcontracts as well.
So we
and
will.
then we also will have some of the owner costs that'll be paid when the invoices for the furniture start to come in. We'll start to see these numbers over here decreasing. When, you know, and as the invoices for the mover and all of that comes in, these numbers will decrease as well.
So Anjanette, if I read your chart correctly, we will have spent about $192 million so far.
That's exactly right, Jack. Yes.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on this portion of the update?
No.
Okay, then I guess we should pay the bills. So we have a bill from Skanska for $105,590. Jeremy, that's in order to pay?
Yep.
And we have a bill from Castle Booze for $150,885. Mary Ann and Jeanette, you're okay with that?
Yes.
And the Consigli bill, Anjanette, you just recommended to us, and the Briggs bill. So is there a motion to approve those?
Move to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Jeremy?
Dave?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
And Mayor Harut.
Yes.
Okay, then Joe or Craig, do you have anything you want to add to tonight's meeting?
I do not. Craig, anything for you?
I don't have anything now.
Okay.
Good.
No news is good news, right?
We're good.
And Mary Ann or Anjanette, anything further you need to add?
I don't think so.
I
Okay.
just want to say thank you to everyone. This continues to move along very well, and I think we have a solid team, including the school building committee. And we're very grateful for that. This has gone well. So far, so good.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate this committee. The attendance remains outstanding. The engagement remains outstanding. I think we can pat ourselves on the back a little bit. So, next meeting is April 13th. The walkthrough's at 3:30 next door. This meeting will be at 5:30 as usual. And then is May 11th our meeting after that? Does that work for you, Steve and Mary Ann? Steve?
Yeah, I'm checking the calendar.
I have May 11th on my calendar.
Requisitions are usually buttoned up by the 10th, so I believe that will work for us. Yes, Anjanette, unless you think differently.
No, that's fine. We should be in good shape, yeah.
Okay, then we'll mark that down. So does anybody have anything else to raise before we, Rob?
Just a reminder, the community open house that's happening this Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon for the current high school. Thank you to the Blue Pride Ambassadors Club and the high school staff and students that will be here to welcome guests. Feel free to come by, take some self-guided tours, say farewell to this building. This will be the last public opportunity to see the pool and locker room areas before those parts of the building come down later this spring. And there will be some additional information about our event coming in June as well. So please feel free to stop by and enter through the principal's lobby.
Is that called the Pit?
Yes, AKA the Pit. I said the Pit in another meeting and people didn't know what I was talking about, so.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have anything else? Okay, hearing none, then a motion is in order to adjourn at whatever time my phone says, which is 6:28.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, Dave?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Mark?
Yeah.
Rob?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes,
And Mayor?
Yes.
and I'm on my way to City Hall, Mayor. We are adjourned.
That's good.